Hey, everyone see my screen okay? All
Ye-
right. So first of all, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you all had some time off and get some rest and recharge those batteries to get ready for this next part of this academic year. And it's going to be great things ahead. And hope you all had some good time off. So this meeting is going to be about a rank order list. Um, Kind of some things to keep in mind as you're going to put together your list and sort things out. Um, this is a little agenda for today, and then so I'll get going on the next slide. Um, you're probably all pretty familiar with the Okra staff. You know, Dr. Taraguchi, myself, Dr. Wynn, Humberto, Darnell. We're all here to support you. We're here to help you with every step of the way. You know, this is a marathon, it's a journey, and we are here to help you through that journey, through all of it. Okay. So please know you have all of us here to support you as resources, whatever it is you might need. So just want to introduce you to the team again. This is a screenshot of the Okra website. Just so you know, you can always go to the Okra website. You could click on anyone's picture to, for their booking link or, for anything. So just to kind of give you a visual of that, okay? And Dr. Wynn, please jump in at any point in time on any one of these slides to jump in, okay?
Thanks, Jen. And along with what
Yeah.
um, Jennifer just mentioned, I just put a link to our Okra webpage on the chat. And as she mentioned, you can use our booking links to make appointments with us. On the top right-hand corner, you see that the resources are now organized by year of training. That was a revamp that we made to our website. So if you look under MS4, you can now click on it, and eventually, Elizabeth, after this meeting, we'll have this recording, all the recordings of our workshops, including our interview tips workshop we did, the other sessions we did last during the end of towards last year. They're now on our webpage as well. So for your classmates who are unable to make our session today, for example, this will be posted on our website. Thanks, Jen.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, and just so you know too, so if we're going through this presentation and you're like, oh, I know there was something that I wanted to write down or forgot or anything, so know that you can go back and you could rewatch the presentations to, if for any information that you may have missed or anything like that. So that's great. Okay, so this is just about advising hours and expectations. Just you all are pretty really good about this, using the booking link. Um, uh, you can all see all the Okra team's availability and that kind of thing. And then if you can't make it, just please send like a short note or a short email that you can't make the meeting, you're running late or anything like that, or you need to reschedule, just out of courtesy. And then for your rank order list, when you start to have those meetings with the Okra team, just be prepared, have your list, have some notes ready so that we're able to review it with you and kind of help you get things sorted out and get that list prepared, for it to be a successful list for you when you submit it. Okay. And then never forget that Okra is here to support you. Like I said, we are here for part of this journey in this marathon. Okay. You're not to walk through any of these steps alone. Okay. And then, okay. So this is the rank order list timeline. Kind of just gives you a breakdown of like when you want to interviews are, kind of starting to wrap up. So you want to start putting together your timeline between now to through the end of February. Interview season typically, will start in October, go through the end of January. Some specialties will end sooner, some will end later. It just depends on the program and how they want to go about their interview season. Um, I know there's some programs at RCH that are still interviewing. Other programs have finished. So, it just depends on the program, the facility, the program director, and how long their interview season is. And then for your draft of your rank order list, you start putting that together in January, start, kind of working on it and everything so that you can kind of get it finalized, and work with the Okra team, by February. And then the rank order list due date is like for ARIS and for most of the other applications, it's due on March 4th. Ophthalmology was actually due on January 2nd, so that's a pretty early one. And then, match day will be, March 20th. It's always the third Friday of March, which is always just a fun, exciting day. Um, Ophthalmology will actually have their match day in January 29th. And let's see, and then you'll match, and then you'll start onboarding for residency, and then you'll graduate in June. And it's gonna be fun times, fun times. Okay, so for your program ranking notes, these are just things to keep in mind when you are going through, like, when your interviews. You want to make sure that you have a list of all the residencies that you interviewed with, and try, I hope you all we were trying to, add notes as after your interview. It's always good to make sure that you have notes right after your interview, because after you have done, 5, 6, 15 interviews, they all kind of blur together. And so it's really good to make your notes right after your interview, because everything is fresh in your mind. And some things to keep in mind about your interview day. Was the communication, was it good with the program? Was the ease of your having your interview and the scheduling, if you had a meet and greet with the program, was the communication, was it done well? Was it clear? You know, if you had questions about anything, was the program receptive to your communication or your questions? Did they respond timely? Um, when you got to meet during the interview or during your meet and greets, and you kind of got a vibe for the program's culture, did it seem positive? Was it pleasant? Did it seem like the residents, they got along well? Did the residents seem happy? All those kind of things are important. The salary that the residency offers, is it competitive to what you need for, to be able to, sort of, be on your, not on your own, but kind of on your own financially, when you're in residency? And then, did the program offer stipends? Do they offer a moving stipend? Do they offer a stipend for any curriculum, or for meals or away rotations? Those are all good things that are you want to be mindful of, because that will impact your finances, during residency. And those are really great perks that you want to know if the residency provides those. How was the program director? Was the program director, is it someone that you could see, you working with for the next, 3, 4, 5 years? Do they seem supportive? Um, were they engaging? Um, do um welcoming, all those things. Do they answer your questions appropriately? Um did they talk about the different rotations and things they could offer? They talk about, if you asked about like research or scholarly activity, um, things like that. And same with the faculty. Was the faculty engaging? Did you find that they were invested, in the residency? And did you have an overall supportive feeling about the program? Those are all things to keep in mind, and things that you want to make notes as after your interview day, so that you could have an honest, uh, valuable opinion of right after your interview day.
And I wanted to
Anything,
add
I
this.
was gonna say, anything you want to add after that, Dr. Wynn?
Sorry, Jen. I wanted to
Yeah,
add,
yeah.
and Jennifer's been, in GME for quite a while, and my experience as well. And I will share with you, for the most part, these programs, they will always put their best face forward to you, right? And so they will try to get you to meet and interact with residents that they chose, right? That they feel are the best face of their residency program. And with that being said, being that they're trying to put their best face front forward to you, if you go to these residency programs and all those different parameters that Jennifer's listed here, what was your interaction with them in terms of communication, the meet and greets, how was the program director, the faculty? Remember, they're putting their best face forward. And if you already feel their best face forward, you have concerns, you have red flags, there are things that you have worries about, just remember that's their best behavior in front of you. So it probably is much worse, or maybe not aligning with what you might be looking for. So keep that in consideration. They're on their best behavior in front of you.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more, Dr. Wynn. Okay, all right. On to the next slide. All right, so this now we're going to talk about like strategy, lifestyle factors. So you have to like stop and think, what is important to you? What's important to you for residency? Is it location? Do you want to make sure you stay in California, or do you not care? You don't care where you go across country? Is it the culture of the residency? You want to make sure that they, for the most part, seem like they have a supportive, culture with mentorship and whatnot. The call schedule is if they have a really tough call schedule, is that something that you're going to be able to work with, not work with, so the salary, the affordability of the area. There's some areas in the country that are a lot more expensive to live than other areas. So these are like all things that you have to think about what's important to you when you do make your rank order list. And think about your specialty match rates. Is are you going to a specialty when you're doing your rank order list that's it's really it's high volume. How the number of interviews you have gone through, how do you think you did? All those things kind of fit into it. Um, does the program have designated mentorship? Is that something that's really on like it's on your radar that's really aligns with you? And then also gauge your own competitiveness within the specialty of choice. Do you feel like you are really you are a competitive applicant? And um, because all that comes into play was depending upon the interviews that you received, and as opposed to then how are you going to rank them? So all of these things, it's kind of you have to take all of these things into a big pie and kind of combine them down.
And I would say, Jen,
Yeah.
with what you've mentioned here, one of the major things I want to bring up is point two under culture of the residency, which kind of aligns with, I mean, the call schedule, all those things are very important too, because you're going to work hard no matter where you go. But that culture piece, I think, is really, really important, right? Because it's all residency programs have a culture. They have a way that things go, a way that things vibe, whether it's with residents, whether it's with your faculty members. The culture is so, in my opinion, very probably one of the most important pieces along with location in terms of your consideration. But the culture is important because you don't want to, programs work really hard to establish a certain culture, whether it's positive or negative. Either way, they work hard to establish that. Your residency training between whether it's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even longer, that's a long time to be in a program where the culture is toxic, where the culture is negative, antagonistic. Even if the mission aligns with your career goals, but the culture is not there, that's a very long 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of training that you're going to be in that you're going to be pretty unhappy. So keep that in mind. A lot of people have shared with me, and I experienced this myself on the interview trail 20 years ago when I was interviewing for residency. There are programs that have outstanding names and reputations, and you go there and you just know you walk out the door and I don't think I'm going to be happy here. The residents look miserable. The faculty were condescending. You know, I'm not saying all programs are going to be like that, but you got to keep that in mind. The culture is so deeply important. It's gonna make or break your experience in residency, in my opinion. Thanks, Jen.
I completely agree. One of the things that I have found with residents, if you ask them, has your residency gone by fast? And if they say, oh my gosh, it has gone by so fast, typically when they say that, they've had a great culture at their residency because they have really, really enjoyed it, and their time there has just gone by quickly. It's like with anything, like when you're really enjoying something, time just seems to just take care of itself and it just flies by. But if you're in a residency where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been here for 12 months and I have another 24 months to go. If you have residents that kind of say that, you're like, okay, they're probably not that happy in their residency. And I just have found like a correlation between that through the years where when the residents are like, oh my gosh, it's flown by, you know that they're enjoying their residency and it's a good culture. Just something I've noticed through the years. Doesn't mean that it's for everyone, but
And I would add along with that, Jen, another component to this is I think, culture these days is harder to gauge versus before COVID. Because before you could go to a program and actually interact with the residents more. And now it's harder unless you actually, through Vislo or whatever, you did actually rotate with them. I think otherwise the culture is kind of hard to gauge. And the best way I can tell you is kind of what Jennifer's mentioning is as you're talking to these residents, if you have an opportunity to do a second look at any of these programs or your email interactions with them, as much as you can, try to glean what you are able to get from them because things will slip out. Kind of like what Jen just mentioned earlier about, how has your residency gone? And if they say, you know what, I feel like it's only been 12 months, I have 24 months left. That right there, reading in between the lines, they're basically trying to tell you, when you go through hard times, it's like every second seems to last forever, right? And when you're having great times, like Jen was mentioning, it flies by. So that's a way you can kind of indirectly glean that. I think in today's environment with these interviews. So, yep.
yeah,
Thank you.
agreed. Okay, another thing to kind of look out like for your strategy is the number of residency spots that are available per program that you interviewed with. There's certain programs where they may have, depending on the specialty, of course, they may have six, spots, and another program that you interview with may have 12 spots. So those are things too you want to keep in mind, as you go through your interviews. And then also think about the residency program that you match with in your career trajectory. Are you thinking about fellowship? Or do you just want to go into practice right after residency? Is it if you do you, when you wherever you go for residency, do you think maybe that would be where you would want to stay to do, to start your career? Or do you think if you like did it out of state, then you want to come back? Or, there's just all these things that you just have to keep in mind for your future. So, medical school, you're thinking about your future. Residency, you're still thinking about your future. Okay. And think about the fellowship match rates with the program you interviewed with. Did when their residents applied for fellowship, did they have good match rates? Were they able to match in the fellowship of their choice? Did they go where they wanted to go? That's also important because that also shows when you have a great fellowship match rate, that shows that the faculty is also invested because the faculty, they have to do those extra things. They have to do the LORs and whatnot for those residents to get into the fellowship of their choice and their specialty. So and I think it shows like continuity for the program for the to go into fellowship. Do you agree with that, Dr. Wynn?
Absolutely, 100%. The
Okay.
support they're willing to show you and give you and that you hear is going to be so vitally important to you, especially if you're going to apply for fellowship, because, literally in a year from now, you're going to have to be starting to prepare when you're an intern to apply for fellowship. It's going to be that quick. Like if you're in IM, you got to get ready during that year. So,
Yes.
absolutely,
e-
Jen.
Exactly. Okay. And then also another thing is um, do not put programs on your rank order list that you did not interview with. Okay. I think this is just for a small percentage of students that do this, but just don't do this. One you won't match with if you did not interview with the program, you will not match there. The system when the programs are um doing their rank order list and then the ARIS and other things, there's different functions in there that the program goes in there and clicks different features. And so if you think, well, I'm just going to add these 10 programs, even though I didn't interview with them, I'm still going to add them. Okay, don't do that because the system will just kick those out anyways. And it's not a good thing to do. Okay, so I just want to just put that in there
And the
because
reason
that's a
why we
reminder.
mention that, as much as it seems straightforward, we've seen this happen before, so we just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Okay. Now, avoiding some common missteps, just some common things to just be on the lookout for. Let me just move my screen over a little. um, for your rank order list. Okay. If when you were interviewing with the program or when you had the meet and greets or even maybe a second look or open house with the program and you had additional questions, please reach out to them. Reach out to them and get clarification about something. You are with all within your means to do that, to have some clarification. And and the program should, of course, respond and reply to you for to answer your question. Another thing is to rank your programs, um, rank your ranking programs by anything other than your preference. So if your dream program you feel is a reach, but you interviewed with them, that means the program they value you. They're not going to send you an invite if they did not value your application and everything. Okay, so don't think you're not going to have a chance at matching if you for some reason if you do not feel that you are a competitive applicant. You got an interview. That means a lot. Okay, so in doing some research, the AMA says to rank them first. If that's your dream program and you felt that they were the best fit for you and you really like them, rank them first. You know, they said 80% of applicants will match at one of their top four choice programs. So I think that's really important. Okay.
And I want to add to that. I want to re-emphasize what Jennifer just mentioned. It is extremely important we emphasize this point. And that point is this: you should not try to rank based upon where you think you're going to match most likely. Okay. The match algorithm is designed to benefit you in that sense, in the sense that you should rank it based off of what your true preferences do. And I want to repeat this: do not rank based upon where you think you have the highest likelihood of matching. Okay. Rank based upon where you really want to go. And again, this algorithm and the way the match is set up intended to work is to support and benefit actually you as an applicant. So I want to reemphasize that. Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah, because the algorithm, your voice means more in the algorithm than the program's voice. All right. So your post-interview correspondence by the residency should, for the most part, be taken with a grain of salt. So if you don't read into positive messages or closing statements or anything that the program um has sent to you thinking don't try to read between the lines so to speak. If the program they say, oh, can't wait to see you soon or can't wait for match day, things like that, please don't read into it. um like Dr. Wynn said, you need to put together your rank order list for your true authentic list that you want to go to.
And on the flip side with that, I would also want to remind you that a lack of a response from them not responding to your email or silence from them is to not be interpreted in a negative way either. I will tell you some programs have a stance and a policy where their policy is to not to engage with you after their interview, even if they don't list it explicitly on their website. Where some programs will actually say that we don't want post-interview communication, but on the flip side, some programs don't list that, but they also won't respond to you. Do not take that negatively, and do not read. Like Jennifer mentioned, don't try to read in between the lines with that. Okay, I
Yes.
can tell you they looked at it. I can tell you they read it. It's just maybe that's their stance for to keep things fair and equitable to not respond. Okay.
Exactly, exactly. Because the NRMP has a lot of strict rules, and a lot of programs they do not want to make a bad step. So, absolutely, totally agree. Okay, leaving residencies off your rank list. Okay, so the program invited you for an interview and they saw merit in your qualifications. So don't forget that, okay? So if this is a program you really want to go to and you're like, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to have a chance to match there." They sent you an interview, right? So just be mindful of that. And then also, um, don't leave programs off your list. I mean, if you think about it, would you rather soap and really not know where you're going to go, but rather than leave a possible program off your rank order list? Okay. So it just, more on your list is always better. And trust your impressions, trust your gut. Okay. But you just have to understand the consequences of that. And then in same thing, don't make your rank order list too short.
And I want to emphasize another point here. As you start to think whether you want to leave a program off your rank list, that question that Jennifer has right there is extremely important. Would you rather SOAP than end up at a program that you're thinking of not putting on your list? The only time I really would consider not putting a program on my list is if I'm 100% sure I would be absolutely miserable going to that residency program. Because otherwise, through the SOAP, you're leaving a lot up to fate at, what programs are available. You probably are not going to have control over where you end up. And also, it's also an unknown as well. You're going into a potential other unknown entity where, that phrase is true. Grass is not always greener on the other side. You don't know what that program is going to be like either. So keep that in mind. Only leave a program off if you're 100% sure you would be absolutely 100% miserable going there.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, so the rank order process, it is completely individualized, and I just cannot emphasize that more. It is different for every single one of you and for 100 different reasons, okay? So you have to determine what means the most to you in a residency. And you want to think long term. I know before we talked about things that matter to you, like, locations, salary, stipends, schedules, all those kind of things. But also think about long term. Do you want to go into a prelim position versus, categorical? Are you thinking about, fellowship for down the road? What about inpatient versus outpatient? The programs that you're ranking, is it 50-50? Is one more 70-30? What is it that you feel you would excel at more? What would you enjoy at more? With the program, do they offer mentorship? Is that something that's really important to you? And do they offer that? Which that's just an important thing for residency. I think it's so important to have mentorship. And also about the stipends. You know, it's sorry, but money makes this world go around, and you just got to be mindful of things that you will be responsible out of pocket, or if your program will actually like reimburse or pay that for you.
And those costs do add up. I mean, your step exams add up. US level step three is expensive. Your license, California medical license is expensive. All of these costs add up. So some programs may support you, some may not. Some programs will offer you housing stipends, as you've seen at different institutions you've interviewed at. So I mean, it is a factor, right? It's not the end all be all, and it's not, the final decision maker, but it is a huge, I mean, it would be a huge portion of my thinking in my mind.
Exactly. Exactly. Because let me tell you, especially in California, those medical licenses, they seem like they increase every year.
Oh,
So
they do.
yeah. Oh, it's anyway, don't get me going down that rabbit hole, doctor, when you know how I feel about them charging these residents that much money. It just
I,
it
I
just
mean, I'll share with you. I think
gulls me.
I'll share with everyone here. When I first became licensed, I think it was, this is almost 20 years ago. I think it was $600, and I think now it's over 1,000. It's almost doubled in price over that time frame.
Yes, yes. Because in addition to your license, then you have to get your fingerprint done, and then you have to do this other fee and this other fee. So all these things all come into, yeah, it's a money grab, unfortunately. All right. Okay, another thing you want to think about is, making compromises. When you're making your decisions, what are you willing to compromise on things? Are, do you really only really want to rank high those programs that are academic? academic facilities versus a community facility. Maybe you were thinking about an academic residency, but then you are location and you interview with this program and they're at a community hospital and you're like, well, I really like them, you know? So there's different things if you want to make compromises for different things. And then also, is it a new program or is it an established program? I have worked with both, and I don't think there's one's better than the other. There's changes all the time, whether it's a new program or an established program. But it's just things you have to just be mindful of. And maybe you want to go out, maybe you want to be with a new program. You want to be part of the process that lays the groundwork and builds that residency. Deal breakers. What's a deal breaker for you? What can you live with? What can you not live with? During residency. And go with your gut feeling. And that's different for everyone. Uh, and I can't emphasize that enough. This decision is strictly like it is so individualized. You have to do, and the decisions you make are for you. Okay.
And I would
Oh,
say, adding
yeah.
along with that, some of the major deal breakers I typically have heard over the years are family, significant other. Those are probably the biggest things I hear. Um, Oftentimes I'll hear deal breakers about actual individual program issues too, which obviously is important for your education, but I think probably the bigger ones, you've got to really reflect on yourself. For those of you who are considering programs and it may affect your family situation or significant other. I mean, that's a huge part. Do you want to be in a long distance relationship? Do you want to be far away from your family? For some people, they can do that because it's only a few years. Some people are in circumstances where that might be really difficult, right? So I think you really got to reflect upon that within yourself and look deep within yourself. Are you going to be okay? You can say that right now. I'm okay being away for 3 years, but is that really true?
Right.
So think about that, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's all about, you know yourself and you know your boundaries. So and stick with those. Okay. So no one knows yourself better than you. Okay. And also the dynamics of the residency. Like Dr. Wynn said, were there major red flags? Were there not red flags? All of these things you need to keep in mind, as you're making your notes and everything for your rank order list. Okay, reviewing options. So, of course, when you put together, your list and your notes, review with the Okra team, make an appointment. It's always better to, do it as soon as you can because it's more fresh in your mind and you have more time to think through it. You want to think through your rank order list. You may go through several drafts. Because it's good to talk about your rank order list with your Okra team because we will ask you things about different residencies that maybe you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I forgot about that. So it may affect how you rank. And then also like, are you dual applying? And if you are, what are your expectations? What are your strategies? So let the Okra team help you with that. It's this is your rank order list is one of the most important things you're going to put together, and we want to help you to make this be as successful as possible. And then there's some resources for you. Check out your specialty boards online. There's a lot of great information that you could look up about your specialty. And have the strategic planning with Dr. Wynn and myself and any of the Okra team as well. And we're all here. We're all here to help.
And one thing I want to bring up with what Jennifer mentioned is with that last point, as some of you have been meeting with us jointly between me, Jennifer, and Elizabeth, soon to be Jasmine, as Elizabeth is going on leave, and Dr. Middle, to formulate, let's say you've already met most of your graduation requirements and you're still wondering what other rotations may benefit me as I'm going into this specialty. There's all things that you can always meet with us so we can talk about. Let's say if you're going into family medicine, are there other rotations that may benefit you that you might not have thought about? So if those or electives, not, non-clinical electives that may benefit you in that particular specialty, if you have any openings, we can always meet with you to talk with you about some additional options to kind of enrich your final few months here at UCR School of Medicine.
Agreed. Okay, going on to match process. So the match process, like Dr. Wynn said, it prioritizes the applicant's preference. Okay, so when you send in your rank order list to the NRMP, they listen to your voice more than they do the program's voice. Okay, so please listen to that. Okay, and like I said, and there is no downsides. There's nothing wrong with ranking your true #1 residency program #1 even if you feel that your odds are low, okay? This will not negatively impact your match, okay? And don't try to game the system. Like don't this is where you truly have to listen to your authentic self and put down your true rank order list. Don't don't try I don't know how to Dr. Wynn, I'm kind of how do I rephrase that more about not trying to game the system, like not
I would
trying to
say,
manipulate it, so to
I think
speak?
the best way I could say is, don't rank based upon where you in your mind think you have the best chance of matching, because like that first point is it prioritizes your preference. So I wouldn't try to use it to your benefit just for the safety of feeling like you're gonna be safer to match that way. It doesn't work that way. Well, I mean, it could, but I wouldn't do it that way because you should do it based upon where you really want to go, right? So
Yeah,
do it off of your preference, even if you feel like it's a reach. It should be based upon your preference.
I agree. Thank you, Dr. Wynn. I was struggling to find my words there for that one. And so, and then the last bullet point, rank programs in the order of your true preference. Cannot emphasize that more. You rank them to where you think is the best fit for all those reasons, for you, your family, location, all of that. Okay, so what's important to you and what you loved about those different programs that you interviewed with, put down your true order of preference, okay? And not just where you think that you'll match. Don't do that. Do your true preference. Okay, these are some considerations within the NRMP. You can rank up to 20 programs without a fee, and then after you enter 20 programs, then the NRMP will charge you a fee for each additional program that you want to rank. And you cannot enter any more than 300 ranks. If any of you did 300 interviews, I hope and wish you would have reached out to Ochre because we probably would have said, "Don't do that to yourself." My goodness, I would have to be hospitalized if I had done 300 interviews. Um, and also just know when you enter your rank order list, after you make each change, you have to save it. Okay, don't think that it auto saves or anything like that. Anytime you make a change, you have to save it. Just an important thing, because I know I have seen students in the past where they've entered their rank order list and then they exit out. They're like, "Jen, I went back in and there's nothing." I'm like, "Well, did you save it?" Oh, so it just something to be mindful of, okay? And then also you cannot import your rank order list on your phone, like on a mobile device. Okay, you need to use your laptop, your computer, things like that. And also trust the process. Okay, after you have met with the Okra team and you went over your rank order list and you said, okay, this is it. This is my rank order list. I am happy with it. This is my true list. And you submit it, trust the process. Okay. Just trust it, which I know it's harder than easier. And then just some quick things about like the SF match, like the ophthalmology. This is applicants only. Your rank order list was due on the 2nd. They'll have their match on the 29th of this month. For ResCast, this is like OB-GYN. You'll go through NRMP. That's just for OB-GYN only, and then you'll match through the NRMP, and the SOAP process will also be through NRMP if you have to go that route. And then upcoming Okra events, we're going to have match day on the 20th. If for any reason a student needs the SOAP, not to worry. We will be there to help you every step of the way. You will not have to go through this process alone. And trust me, it will all go fine. Okay. Then we'll also do a transition to residency, and then we'll have the big day of graduation.
And with that being
And that's
said,
it.
I want to reemphasize, Jennifer and I are here to support you. And like Jennifer mentioned, you're not by yourself. We are here to support you every single step of the way. We're available if you want to go over your rank order list with us. We'll go over it with you. We can talk it through with you. And then in addition, I know the next few months I've been there and I've been on the other side, on the residency program side, and Jennifer has too. We know it is extremely stressful, even if you don't want to even talk to us about the rank order list, but you just want to talk to us. We are here to support you no matter what. Anything and everything you need, we are here. Elizabeth, I think we can stop recording now.